KREM 2 News at Noon begins now.
Hi everyone, fall is just about here and so is the annual Fall Harvest Festival. We have a preview of this weekend's activities.
And our weather pattern is about perfect for today. We have plenty of late summer warmth that carries through next week.
Plus, a move by the DEA could spark major changes for the marijuana industry here in Washington state, how businesses across the state might be impacted. Hi everyone, before we get to all the day's stories and what's happening in the news, let's talk a little weather. It's so good to see you right here on KREM 2 News at Noon. I'm Laura Papetti. Well, we've been talking about fall is coming down quickly, but temperatures are still feeling a bit like summer. Meteorologist Thomas Patrick is standing by.
Yeah, Laura, it is absolutely perfect out here today. And when we mention summer-like weather, thankfully we don't mean anything July or August-like. It is just going to be warm for September standards, but absolutely stunning weather across the inland Northwest. As we look at the big picture on Doppler radar, I mean, first of all, what an impressive storm system over Montana, where the rain is over Billings and portions of Missoula, and it's actually going to throw some thunderstorms out towards the Midwest. Not here, though. It is just all clear skies, a few fair weather cumulus clouds just trying to populate the skies above our heads here. An absolutely picturesque, perfect day out there today. In fact, it's already in the 70s, going to be up to about 78 for the high temperature. So plenty of warmth without getting carried away for the summer season. Now, fall starts on Sunday, and next week's forecast stays warm, stays summer-like, late summer-like, if you will, because the long-term outlook remains warm across not just the Northwest, but actually most of the U.S. here. So coming up, I'll show you that weather pattern that keeps the warmth in place even for early next week, which could result in a few days in the 80s. So we're not done with the 80s just yet.
Happening today, the Washington Department of Corrections is planning to take its last execution chamber offline. According to the DOC, the so-called death chamber is being shut down at the Washington State Penitentiary that's located in Walla Walla. 78 inmates have been executed there since 1904, and the last one took place at that location back in 2010. Here at KREM 2, we bring you more to every story, and the move from the DOC comes after Washington Governor Jay Inslee announced a moratorium on the death penalty back in 2014, at the time vowing to never sign a death warrant while in office. Then later on, the state Supreme Court invalidated the death penalty law in 2018 after ruling it was racially biased. A statistical analysis from the University of Washington found juries were about 4 times more likely to sentence black defendants to death. We are learning more about the victims in last week's deadly gas explosion that happened in Cardiff, Idaho. It killed 2 people and sent 2 other people to the hospital with serious burns. 53-year-old Brandon Cook and 62-year-old Wesley Lineberry died last Wednesday. The Clearwater County coroner says both men died from blunt force trauma related to the explosion. And also 2 Atkinson Distributing employees, Donnie Billetter and Roxanne Hubbs, were flown to Seattle today. Hubbs remains in critical condition, and a GoFundMe page for both of them has been set up. And for more information, you can find the links on our website. They're located at KREM.com. Changes could soon be coming to the marijuana industry in Washington state, and the federal government is considering reclassifying cannabis as a less dangerous drug. Jake Wittenberg with our Seattle station shows us what this could mean for businesses located all across the state.
The DEA is in its final stages of deciding whether or not to reclassify cannabis, a move that would officially consider it a less dangerous drug. During a recent public comment period, which just wrapped up, a record 43,000 public comments were submitted to the DEA about this decision. It's clearly hit a nerve with people. Here in Washington state now, it's been 10 years since recreational marijuana was sold on store shelves, and it's now clear we may be entering a new era of cannabis. While this is a federal rule, many here in Washington state would see big changes, including consumers, small business owners, and scientists. Researchers at the Addictions, Drug, and Alcohol Institute at UW are welcoming the effort to reclassify cannabis. That's because it would allow them to expand the types of cannabis they're allowed to research. They feel hamstrung by tight federal rules on the drug that many consider outdated, and expanding research, according to Institute Director Susan Ferguson, could lead to new breakthroughs in non-addictive pain medications for diseases like epilepsy.
We want to be able to study the way, model the way that people are using the drug to understand the potential, changes that might occur in the brain, what are the harms, are there treatments, that sort of thing.
And at retail stores like Lux in Seattle's Belltown, one of the first to go in business, reclassifying cannabis to a less dangerous drug in the eyes of the feds can't come soon enough. The big change would allow them to start making tax deductions and conduct regular banking just like any other business. Owner Casey Frank says after 10 years of operating in this kind of gray area, he says it's time for change.
We just want to be treated like a normal business, which is what we are. And I think that anything that moves in that direction is a space that I'm happy to navigate, because it's going to be a better situation than the one that I've been trying to survive in for 10 years.
All right, that's Jake Wittenberg reporting. And still ahead right here on KREM News at Noon, we're taking a look at the annual Fall Festival, just a few days away. And we have all the details coming up in just 2 minutes.